So yesterday we had on former Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, and I asked him about the Democrats' ties to Russia, in particular his own ties to the country. I pressed him about that 75,000 shares of stock that he was given in a Kremlin-backed company. Then he failed to disclose it when he served as counselor to President Obama. Listen to this exchange, Richard.
I didn't own any shares in that company, Maria.
When you stepped off the board, you were given 75,000 shares from Joe Lee.
No, that is not true.
How many shares were you given, John?
Maria, I didn't have any shares in any Russian company. I was on the board of an American company that did business here and only here. The Russian company had a small investment in that company. And, we can go around and around the tree.
It's backed by the Kremlin. It's been widely reported that that company's been backed by the Kremlin, and they gave you 75,000 shares that you had to disclose when you went into the Obama administration.
Maria, you can keep leveling this charge. It is not true.
Okay.
They didn't give me anything. They had a small investment in a company I was on the board of.
Why did you go on the board? Why was that company so attractive to you?
Because, I've been a longtime activist on clean energy and on trying to deal with the climate challenge. And this was a promising company. The fact that the price of oil has been down so long has made the entries into that space very, very difficult.
John,
But it was what they were trying to do was to produce liquid fuel from carbon dioxide and from the sun through a biotechnology process.
John,
it was an extremely promising high-tech company in the United States.
My next questioning there was, Richard, why, when he was hacked, he didn't hand over the server to the enforcement agencies, right? I mean, Hillary Clinton, they wanted her server, they wanted the DNC servers. You got this massive hack, and the DNC said, no, we'll give our server to a private company that happens to be backed by George Soros and Eric Schmidt, rather than giving it to law enforcement. That's a head-scratcher, Richard.
Total head-scratcher. And let's review some facts. John Podesta was the chairman throughout the entire Hillary Clinton campaign. He wasn't there for a temporary amount of time. He was chairman for the entire campaign. He also, it was very interesting if you look at all of the business ties that Podesta had throughout all of this, he didn't give up his Podesta associates. He continued to have these businesses on the side. So it goes without saying that the reason why in the middle of a campaign when they were hacked that they didn't want to hand over all of his emails is because of the massive amounts of business ties that he has. He never gave that up while maintaining his control over the Hillary Clinton campaign. So this was intermingled. Don't forget, too, that she was the former Secretary of State. She already had ties with the Clinton Foundation. Their international business ties were well known and already under scrutiny, and John Podesta is right in the middle of that.
Rich, Dagan.
Rick, it's Dagan McDowell. There was another development yesterday, and it was lost on many, but not Mary Kissel over here, and certainly and not me. But again, it's about this Russia narrative that the media, that most of the media continued to push, and it was a correction to a New York Times article that they keep asserting that the 17 intelligence agencies all agreed that Russia hacked the DNC, they hacked the election, and that it was to get Donald Trump elected. In fact, that assessment was made by 4 intelligence agencies. It's not 17. There isn't universal agreement in the intelligence community. But again, this is what we're dealing with day in, day out, is just misinformation.
That's right.
Misinformation all the way around, because what we really do know is that most of the intelligence agencies haven't given a motive. They said, yes, it is fact that the hacking came from a Russian source. And then some intelligence agencies say that Putin must have known about the specific hacking within the Russian IP addresses. So there has never been solid proof given of any collusion, of any hacking of our election. It's been the hacking of a DNC server, and that is wildly different than the facts that in the narrative that you see on most of the other TV cable shows. It's really outrageous how this has been pushed.
They started saying that, the 17 agencies at the Democratic National Convention. It's another thing that we saw firsthand.
That was Hillary's soundbite, wasn't it?
This whole Russian narrative started after Debbie Wasserman Schultz got fired because they wanted to create smoke over here, not to talk about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and her emails. I mean, it's so clear. It was clear to us from the get-go. Let's talk about the G20 meeting, Rick, because President Trump is gearing up for this meeting in Germany next week. The Commander-in-Chief is going to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the summit. What do you expect to happen in that meeting? And what about the body language between the President and Angela Merkel?
Yeah, look, there's going to be a variety of meetings. He's going to meet with the Prime Minister of Japan as well as the President of China on the side. That's clearly going to be about North Korea. I think with the Russians, with President Putin, that's going to be all about Syria. I think the media want to see some sort of body language with the two leaders as to how this is going to be their first meeting. How are they going to interact? Are they going to be close? Is there going to be tension? Is there going to be a strong handshake? All of that kind of outside physical reporting. But clearly when it comes to the policies, we've got some very serious policies. I think Ukraine is going to come up. All of the Eastern European problems that we've been having with Russia on the offense, whether it's elections or shutting down free media throughout all of Eastern Europe. The Russian propaganda machine is working overtime. We're not doing a very good job between what we fund in terms of Radio Free Europe and all of our kind of anti-propaganda outlets that we push. We're not doing a very good job in the United States. I think that President Trump is going to have to bring up the issue of Russian propaganda and Russia on the offense, as well as Syria. That's going to be the biggest issue. How do we work through this issue of Syria? Does Assad stay? Does he go? What is the U.S. policy? And I think that's going to need to be articulated to President Putin in this side meeting.
Yeah, it's important that actually is raised. You're right. Richard, good to see you. Thanks so much.